Okay. Okay, we should be good now. Everybody can hear me. I can hear you. Okay, Lisa, can you speak so I can see if I can hear you? Okay, fantastic. We're all good now. Okay, we're all good now. Not sure what happened there. Okay, so Laurie, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, so can you hear me, Bafna?
Yep.
Okay, Laurie, I can't hear you yet. Okay, we'll come back to Laurie. So Bafna, why don't you go ahead and get started?
I think my question is very similar to the one which was in the group. It's about the first point itself, the service pricing.
Okay.
And I have my detailed costing sheet
Yep.
where each and every product is listed, and then what are my fixed costs for each product, for example packaging, even a sticker or a band or a twine to wrap it. Each and every cost, what my total cost has been distributed and listed there, and then the amount of food that is going in. So for each and every one I have listed the price. Sometimes I feel it's a price a little approximate because sometimes you might put a little bit more of fruits and less of something, but whichever way, I've listed that in. And I've added in, for example, in my specific case, I've added my shared kitchen cost, I've added my insurance cost, I've added, let's say, my transport cost to the kitchen, or whatever overheads I can think of, I've
right.
put that in. Kept a little margin for myself, which is very, very not much. And then I put a little margin that if I'm selling through other forums by chance in future, I should have that margin of, let's say, 20-25%, which will also help me initially to recover go to break even quick. And then I come on to a final pricing, and then I was like, oh wow, will people pay this? And then me and some friends of my husband were having a chat, and we said, no, I think people would pay maybe maximum this much per price. And then I had to go back. I have to do like a reverse calculation. That helped me to finalize or to look for more vendors who can give me some things, probably a little cheaper than the other one or something. So that could bring down my cost. But still, I'm always having this conscious factor that even if the price is acceptable, which obviously is my niche, I have to find a customer who is accepting this kind of quality. But is my costing really correct? And is there something that I was thinking the whole night? Is that something I'm really missing?
Okay, so a general rule of thumb for food business is that for every dollar you spend, this is for brick and mortar, but you can apply it loosely for catering. But basically, for every dollar you spend, you have to make $4, okay, in order to break even, to cover all of your costs. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if, for example, and your food cost should be coming in around 25% of whatever so if the cost of whatever it is that you're putting together is $50 Hong Kong, then your sale price should be $200. Yeah, because you're going to have on top of that your other costs, like you said, your packaging, your transport, your staff, all of that. So general rule of thumb is at least 4 times. And then if it's beverage, it's about 10 to 15%. So if you've got a really high-end product, you have to figure out how to market so that you attract the right people. And they are out there. So like, for example, for us, when we did canapes, like if you buy one canapé, it's 25 Hong Kong dollars. Okay. So, and we used to have a minimum of each canapé of 50 pieces. So, but we also had canapés that were like 60 Hong Kong dollars. But we didn't have any of that. So that's one piece. So people have to understand, what we would do is have them understand the amount of time that we had to put in, as well as the presentation obviously had to be like spot on. So you have to figure out a way to to market the quality of what you have. Because if you just start saying, I think I should charge this without actually costing it out, you're going to wind up losing money. At the end of every month, you're going to be like, where did all of the money go? So you have to really be able to focus on what your costs are and then price it accordingly. You can't just say, because everybody's going to have an opinion of what they want to pay, and it's always going to be less than what you want to charge.
Absolutely.
So you have to think about, okay, is this where I want to be? There could be products that you could buy that are a little bit less expensive, but you may not want to compromise on that. And you may have to say, if it's a cheese that you're doing, it's a foam d'ambert or whatever, people know how much stuff costs. So you can't, if you've got specialty products in there, you list it out. And you can say, and that's how you need to market it. So it's all in how you market it, but don't price from what you think other people will pay. You have to price from what you can actually make a profit on. And make sure you have a buffer in there, because there will be times when, you forget something and you have to get an extra van and you have to go back, and all of that costs. Yeah?
Absolutely, yes. So this is what I'm buffering in at the moment. So I put in a buffer, and I put in, let's say, initial buffer also. Let's say if I'm cross-selling on other platforms, which I won't do right away.
So I don't think you should do that, because that's your pricing should be your pricing irrespective of, that you should basically base your pricing on how you can make a profit. Mm-hmm. And then if you decide later to go on other platforms, that's a different conversation. But you can't necessarily make your customers, who are like your regular customers, pay for your extra buffer. You can, if they're going to pay it. But if you are just starting out, you want to make sure that you have a fair pricing structure, because the difference between having a $200 item and a $250 item, and sometimes it's not that much, but if you're looking at, like, for example, for a lunch, what is an average lunch that people will pay?
Yes, I'm going to go back to number crunching.
Okay, but people, we used to, for a lunch box, we used to charge $180 Hong Kong, and people paid it, and other people charge $80. So it just depends. For a buffet, we would charge as high as 500 Hong Kong dollars. So.
Yes.
And then maybe have different options. Have a small or meat or large.
Yeah.
Where people can have an option of what they get.
Yeah. I'm going to post the link to the website and to the Instagram page today. So I'm finally having the courage to do my introduction post. And probably then you will have a little bit look on the website, how it is.
Okay, cool.
So, I will just launch it today and do it, and then maybe revisit the pricing again. I'll just put something and then just launch it.
Yeah, you just have to get it out there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so Lisa, do you have a question today?
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yep, you're unmuted.
Okay. I'm starting my membership, and I had a beta launch and had no members sign up.
Okay.
Now I'm regrouping, and I'm going to come up with 3 lessons to teach, as Stu says in Tribe, and record those videos and put those on the Facebook page. So right now I have 1,200 followers on Facebook, but they're not engaged. I say they're not engaged, but I can post something and I'll get 50 likes, 100 likes, but they don't comment and they don't join the private group.
Okay, so the private group is for people in the membership though, right?
Well, I have a free private group thinking I would have more intimate conversations, but people aren't joining that. But I will have another Facebook group once people join the membership. It'll be private.
Okay, so the 1,200 people you have you tried stuff like roll call, where's everybody from, and nobody replies?
And no one replied. The other day I said, I'm for a heartbeat. Let me know that if you're here. And I had like 3 people comment. I have the broken leg right now, so I used my broken leg and said, hey, I have to do physical therapy. I need a team. Come on and join me. And I had maybe 2 people out of 1,200.
Okay, so why don't you do something that I think Rachel Miller actually said was say, hey everyone, we're just looking, we're going to be making some changes. We have some exciting stuff coming in the group, but I want to ensure that we have people who are in the group actually are interested in this content. So if you would like to stay in the group, go ahead and mark yes under here. And then people will either mark yes or no and just say, we will be purging on XYZ date. Because the thing is that if people are not engaged, then, it's almost better to start building from, you don't have to purge everybody, but you will have to purge some.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually did this in a group that I have, in which I had not posted anything for probably 6 months. And I had archived the group. And then I reopened the group, and because I'll probably have that as a base for sort of my membership site later on. And so I just said, if you want to stay in the group, put yes in. And then we purged a few names. We didn't purge everybody, but we did purge a few names of people who had not marked in yes. So I think you can say, come up with like a really great freebie. I'm going to be dropping it next week or something like that. And we've got some other really exciting things coming up for the group. But if you want to stay in the group, put yes here, and we'll be purging some of the people out. And then you have to follow through on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a
try. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, Chantel, I see you're here. Hang on, let me unmute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello.
Hi. Okay, so I saw your questions. Do you want to ask them, or do you want me to read them out?
I'll ask them. Let me pull them up. I put them in my phone. Give me 1 second. Okay. And I have several, as you saw. So,
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Do you want me to just ask all of them?
Or, one at a time is fine, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, let me just do this before you before you go through, because I see Laurie is not back in here, and I think she may have gotten kicked out and not able to come back in. So hang on 1 sec. I just want to make sure she is able to get back in. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so you can go ahead and start.
Okay, so for my first question is, for discovery calls, what kind of questions should you ask to determine if you and the client are a good fit to work together?
Okay, so what are you asking them now?
I'm not asking them anything now. I'm just getting started, and one of the things that I'm trying to overcome is just being a perfectionist and trying to have everything all in a line before I get started with stuff. So, but this is working towards that. So as I'm starting to go through some of the material and whatnot, these questions are just starting to ping through my head. Like, I've seen you have some of the forms and, the onboarding forms and whatnot. So those are just little questions that I've jotted down as I've been going through stuff.
Okay, so the first thing is that by the time you get somebody on a discovery call, and for those, so for in coaching, for anybody who's not interested, and this also actually applies to you, Bafna, if you've got a client that you're talking to about an event. By the time you get somebody on a call, you should actually, they should be almost like 70% there, 60 to 70% there. They should actually have some notion that you're the person that they want to work with. So it's not so much about you convincing them. It's not so much about you convincing them on that discovery call that you're the person that they want to work with. It's more of a, what do you think you can get from working with me? So one of the first things I ask when I have a call with someone is, what are your goals? What is your time frame for reaching them? How committed are you to reaching those goals? Like, what are what are the things that you've done so far that haven't worked? And then once they have said, they've actually said, this is what I want to achieve. This is how committed I am. So how do you think I can help you? And so then they come up with the reasons that they think you're the person that can help them. And so it's not, you should not even be having a sales conversation until they are sure that they want to work with you. And it's not a question of you giving them your resume. Yeah. You're not on a job interview. You have to be very selective with the clients that you take, because if you are just taking people for the purpose of getting their money and they're not getting results, then that's going to be like a pain in the butt for you going forward. So you want to actually work with people who are getting results. Yeah.
Okay.
So so it's more of it's a dance, but it's more of a dance of it's more of a dance of how you can help them. They're convincing themselves. And then once that's happened, you'd say, okay, well, here is how I think I can help you. And then you say, and so your options are, would you like to go for a 90-day or a 60-day program? I think you need this. Which do you think would work best for you?
Okay.
So the either or is not yes or no. You're hiring me. By that time, it's yes or no. Which package do you want?
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. And your next question?
How do you perform onboarding for coaching clients? So you've gotten the yes, and so you have this agreement. So do you have clients complete pre-work in a form and have them submitted to review before the first session? I guess it's kind of like we did a little bit.
Yeah. So what I do, my process is that once I have a client in my program, I will send them a welcome packet. And that welcome packet serves two purposes. It's for them to fill out so that I have an idea of where they are, what their goals are, how committed they are. It's pretty extensive. It's about 10 pages. They fill that in. And then the second purpose of that is to create boundaries. So in my welcome packet at the end, I actually have things like your event, your call will start on time. If you show up 5 minutes late, then you now have 55 minutes, not 1 hour. You are allowed this many cancellations before you get charged. It's really important from the beginning that you set very clear boundaries of how you work with your clients, because it'll be easier for you and it'll be easier for them. The other thing that I do is I have like scheduling, like how I work with scheduling. So there's really no ambiguity around if somebody shows up or they forget a call and they just don't show up, it's going to be deducted from their package. So the more information that you can put in there, the better. And I always put like, what are the expectations, what you can expect from me, what I expect from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know if there are templates somewhere?
I'm sure that you can, I'm sure there's some templates floating around. I'm actually in the process of one of the membership sites that I'm creating will actually have all of the templates for that. And it'll also have a pricing calculator in there for being able to figure out where your pricing should be on the scale. But that won't be ready until probably later next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess this one was really before the other one, but what kind of contract should you have with your clients? And I guess
a very detailed one. You definitely need a contract. I would not take on any client without a contract. And again, the contract is you need to figure out for your particular jurisdiction. For your jurisdiction, what would be, and that I'm sure you can find templates online for coaching contracts, but you need to take it to a lawyer and take a look at it, because like the contract that I got, I used a template that I gotten from someone, and then I took it to my lawyer here in Hong Kong, and then they made it relevant for here and everywhere else in the world.
And that's going to be the other question. Right now, I'm still trying to figure out, I have my audience of who it is that my ideal client, but I still need to, because you just said something from the standpoint of I have US and then there's the potential for global. So,
well, you should always be thinking, all of your businesses, you should be thinking about how you can expand this on a global, particularly coaching, consulting, that type of thing. And your contract is, it should cover all of that. One of the other really important things that your contract should cover is refunds. What are your, also things like, people should have mental health, they should be in good mental health, things like that. So when you start looking online, you'll see some of those same things that are in there, but it's basically to cover you, and to, so that there's, to reduce your liability, basically.
Which is the next question. Do we need liability insurance for coaching, or will a disclaimer be sufficient? Or is having that information in the contract? Does that
usually having that information in the contract, depending on where you are, you may, and what you're coaching on, you may need additional liability insurance, but that's something you'll need to discuss with your lawyer.
And so during discovery and sales calls, how do you address potential clients when they say they don't have the money or feel comfortable spending money, especially when it's personal finance coaching? Because I'm in the personal finance realm.
Okay.
So if they're saying, well, basically, I'm trying to get out of financial issues, so how am I supposed to spend money for it?
So hang on one second. I actually just wrote something out for somebody else. Okay, so the first thing I would say is, like, when I go into the consultation, I'll just say something like, this consultation or this discovery call that we're in now is for you and I to sit together and talk about your goals and why they're important to you. Creating a connection between us, and to see if we're in this together and you want me to help you reach your goals. So that's the first thing I would say, because that helps to set the tone of the entire conversation. Okay. And then, so once people are saying that they don't have, or, you know, people can find money for the things that are important for them. Now, having said that, sometimes people really just don't have the money. So I think it's important for you to determine whether people are coming at it from a place of fear or a place of you haven't quite explained or quite shown them what the value of you being able to help them is. So I'll give you a very specific example. I have a client. I met her at an event, and she said, "I want to work with you." So we had this whole discovery call. So I sent her my information, which all of my information is very upfront. My prices are there. You know how much it costs. So if we're going any further than that, you are not shocked. So anyway, we get on this call, and she says, "I really want you to help me, but I don't think I can afford it." So I said, "Okay, well, my job is not to convince you. You know, these are the goals that you stated that you want to achieve. You know, you've already said that I can help you get there. So the question is, how do you make that happen?" So I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. It's my job to offer. It's your job to choose. And if you are committed to reaching the goals that you want to, and you can get there on your own, then that's great. But if you realize that you can't get there on your own, then you need to figure out what you need to do to invest in yourself and in your business in order to get there. Because the thing is that when, no matter what you're doing, the best investment you will ever make is in yourself. And but I also understand what it's like to be very fearful of making that sort of investment, because I've been there. I mean, like when I hired my first coach and I had to pay her 5,000 US dollars, I was, shocked. I was like so, um, resentful is not the word, but I was thinking in my head, she better be good, right? Like, I'm paying all of this money, she better be good. And it was just like sort of the expectations, but I knew that, like, I didn't know, there was so much stuff I didn't know. And so you have to look at, this is where your stories start coming in, where you tell stories about people who have had that fear and who have made an investment, and then they've seen the results of that investment later on. So for me, I understood later the fear that I had in investing, like what I got from just that one day, I made my investment back in 3 weeks' time. And then over the course of a year, I actually saved like $64,000, because I would have been undercharging for for the 12 months following that, because I didn't know what I should have been charging. So you have to actually focus on showing the value of what you do, but it's not a conversation of you convincing them. It is a conversation of seeing if you guys are a good fit, finding out what their goals are, and if you can help them to reach those goals. And I will always say, it is okay to say no. For you to say, "No, I don't think I can help you." I have people all the time that come to me and say, "Can you help me get on a TEDx stage?" And I know it's going to be very difficult to get them there, because either they're not committed to putting the time in, or they don't have a clear idea of what they want to talk about, or it's just they want to get on the stage so they can have a modicum of some kind of fame. And so those people, I know it's going to be very hard to work with them. And so I just say no. I said, "Listen, I have a group program that is a self-study program that is launching, that you're welcome to get into that. But my one-on-one time is very limited." And so I guard that. So be willing to say no as well from your side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna sound like Lori when I'm talking to people because I'm already taking notes, but I'm gonna come back and take all of this stuff. I feel like the Allstate commercial when the guy starts talking. It's gonna be me, and it's gonna sound like you.
Okay, good. Do you have any other questions?
I have one final one.
Okay.
For speaking engagements when you're introverted,
Yeah.
what's the best way to wade into the speaking engagement pool?
To just start speaking. So to
And I
go
was like,
out.
because I was thinking to myself, what am I just gonna say? Just start doing it.
Just
But
start
I was
doing
like,
it. So what I would say is to find smaller audiences, maybe some women's organizations that will be a little bit more comfortable for you to get in front of, and then be clear about what it is that you want people to take away. So the easiest way, I always say, for people to get out of their fear of speaking is to understand that it's not about you. Whenever you get in front of a room, whenever you start speaking to anyone, it's always about the person who is there that you can help. And so when you keep that front and center, it's easy to understand that you don't have to, like, it's not about you. So when you look out into the room, you think, okay, who is in this room that I'm here to help? And then that just makes it easier for you to get out there. And then I would also say, make sure you don't try to wing it. Make sure you have notes. Ask things of the organizers, like if you think you get shaky, ask them if there's a lectern maybe that you can put your papers on and you can hold the sides of, not like with, white knuckles, but at least something to stabilize you. And then practice. Practice will alleviate a lot of nervousness.
okay, and the final question on that topic is, how do you pick topics for the events that don't overlap with your webinars, your lives, etc., or does it not matter? Like, can you, like if you do a live?
You pick your topics based on the audience. So how can you serve that audience? So it doesn't matter whether you've talked about it in a webinar, whether you've talked about it in a live, it really doesn't matter. It's how can you serve that audience? So I'll give you a really good example. So I have one of my talks where I talk about people getting out of their own way, getting it, being able to, particularly as entrepreneurs, bounce back, etc. So I go do this talk. It's like 80 guys. They're from like 35 to 85 years old, all men. So I'm doing this talk. And I finish, and people are like, they're shaking their heads, da, da, da. And then this guy comes up to, this is like not knowing your room. This is not knowing your room. So all I heard was that they were all entrepreneurs. So as all entrepreneurs, I'm thinking everybody's had some ups and downs, so I'm gonna do my little entrepreneur talk. It kills every time. And this guy comes up to me and he said, that was such a good talk. He said, but I think the next time when you come to this kind of room, you have to talk to these guys about like, how can they give charities? Because everybody in here is like multimillionaires many times over, and half of them were born with silver spoons up their butts. So they don't know nothing about, about the
struggle being
of an
real.
entrepreneur.
Right.
Most of them have inherited it. And he said, and this guy over here, he didn't even know that there was nothing behind first class. He thought that the curtains were where you put the luggage. So I was like, oh God. So I had like gone through this whole thing, like, this is like when I failed, and they were really receptive, but they had no clue. Like I was speaking to the wrong story to the right audience. So you need to make sure that you've got something that resonates with that audience, because like those guys, they were just like, is there anything other than first class? They didn't know. So yeah, pick a topic for the audience.
All right, I will do that. Does it have to have a lot of interaction as far as, I guess just interaction to where you have a lot of activities? I mean, I've gone to several of them, but different types. But again, it's the audience.
if you're doing a workshop or you're doing a keynote. If it's a keynote, you can just take questions. If it's a workshop, then generally it would be more interactive.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, cool.
That's it. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Okay, Laurie, welcome back.
Yeah, well, I'm on by my phone because I tried several times on my computer and it just kept freezing.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Zoom today, but we're here now. Hey.
Okay. So I missed the first part of this, but my main sticking point right now is I keep hearing from you and from some other groups that I belong to that Facebook Live is the end all and be all of marketing. I have nothing to say. Here's my towel. How do you like it? What else do I say? I mean,
Okay.
I've been thinking about this. I'm just like, what? And I'm not my customer's age group anymore.
Okay.
So I have that disconnect.
Okay, so well, who says you're not the age group? They don't know how old you are.
No, that's true. But I think some of the slang and the way I talk, they can kind of guess.
So what I would say, so Facebook Live definitely.
And if I go live, they're going to see that I'm not their age group.
Well, that's okay. I don't think, and I don't think people like I said when I went to that first coaching conference, like everybody there was like 30-ish, and talking about stuff that I didn't know, and taking Instagram photos and whatever things they do, Snapchatting. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. So I would say you've got a product. You're not selling the product. You're not on your Facebook Live talking about the product. You're talking about things like, what's the difference between organic cotton and regular cotton?
Okay.
How did you know that when kids enjoy bath time, they are, it lessens the stress, that much more, and you don't have to fight them? So what are the things that people have issues with their kids, with bath time? Kids want to stay funky. They don't want to take a bath. When you have fun, it makes bath time that much easier.
Do they not want to? I mean, is that really a problem that people have? Because I never had that with my kids. They were fine with taking baths.
Yeah, I think well, you could, the other thing you could do is have do some market research. Oh, okay. Chantel said, just followed you on Instagram, Lori. Thank you. You see, I have no pictures yet, but I'm getting there. So I would do some market research. I would put up a questionnaire that says, how is bath time in your family? Or do your kids love baths, hate baths? It's a nightmare every day, or whatever. And so you get some idea of what people's issues are. What would make bath time more fun for your kids? Or how do you make bath time more fun for your kids?
Okay.
And then for your topics that you can talk about, go to your website and see what are the things that, take it from your website. So why we do what we do. And then you talk about the leprosy village. I know that's separate, but you can say, one of the things, something that you maybe didn't know about me. So you want to start getting people to be familiar with who you are as well.
Okay.
So not just like the towel lady. You're the towel lady that does so many other things. So you want people to become much more familiar with who you are. And then start talking about why you guys decided to make these towels. What was that reason?
Okay.
When people take your hoodie things out, the kitty hoodie things, does it protect the kids from the sun better? Kids, is there research that shows that kids would like this towel better than a regular towel? So, or you could even create like a challenge. You could create like a challenge, like, which one do you want? Does your kid, which one will they pick? And you get, you find a couple of people and get them to do the challenge. Or if they have your things, they can get into, if they buy them, they can get into the challenge, and you can say, we're giving away $100, $100 scholarship things, or gift certificates or something. And then you get people from all over the world engaged.
And ask them which towel their kid would like best.
So it says, if they've bought it already, put that towel, your towel, and a regular towel next to each other, and say, which one do you want? Which one will you choose? Or something like that. Just make it. You want to do things that are fun. There's also, I was actually thinking about you the other day because I saw this kid. He's 5 years old, and he's got this company called Ollie's Fizzies. Yes, I know, it's like crazy. So he makes bath bombs for kids. So inside each bath bomb is like a little toy. So like one might have, once the bath bomb fizzes, it might have like a Pokemon thing in it. Another one might have like a superhero. So see if you can reach out and do some kind of collaboration with them. Because for you, it would be really great if people had like, every month they had something new, like if they had a bath bomb and a nice washcloth. Under $20, easy for people to, something new to keep their kids occupied. Even if you did like with hotels who have kids coming in, something that they could give them.
Okay.
But for your face, and actually what I'll do, because I got from one of my other, one of the other programs that I'm in, they've got a really good outline. Like I just get on Facebook Live and talk. But I think if you're just doing it, you really should give yourself an outline, and I'll share with you. I actually get, there's actually an outline somewhere, I think, that people were given for Facebook Lives, which I can share with you guys. So it's basically that same principle. If you're doing a talk or you're doing a speech, tell people what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And then you pick like 3 things in your Facebook Live. So whatever your subject is, so if it's, what's the difference between organic towels and regular towels? So I'm going to tell you the difference between these two today, and why it's important for you and why it's important for the environment. And then you say 1, 2, 3 things. And then after those 3 things, you said, so to recap, this is why you should choose organic over non-organic. And you repeat the 3 things, and that's it.
Okay.
So
now,
go ahead.
So most of my customers are in the U.S. Do I need to get up in the middle of the night and do it live so it's at their time, or that'll just
No.
Live is just a misnomer? So why can't I just tape it and then put it up as a video?
You could technically.
And does that make a difference? I mean, is live more?
Live, people prefer live, but there are programs out there that you can use to simulate a live video. So there's like OBS, which is online broadcasting system. There's another one somebody actually just sent me yesterday. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. That gets you to simulate live. But I mean, 70% of my clients are in the US. I don't get up in the middle of the night.
Okay.
You know, I usually do them early in the morning or in the evening when people are, awake or going to sleep. But the majority of people will watch the replay anyway.
Okay.
So I think as long as you do the live, that's fine. I'm just trying to find this. Hang on one sec, because I just got this in my box yesterday or day before. And I'll give you the website. And this is a way, this will give you you can schedule out the lives. I haven't really looked at it that much, but I know it's, hang on. Okay, I may have to pop it into the group afterwards because I don't see it here. This is so weird. She just sent it the other day. But anyway, I'll pop it into the group. I'm sure it'll pop up in my feed as well because I've been, anytime I'm on one of those sites, then I get stalked on Facebook. So yeah, I will pop that in. I'll pop in a couple of those. I think there's 2 or 3 of them that you can do that will allow you to pre-record, but it'll still look like it's a live video. And so you could definitely do that. But try to do things that'll just get people engaged and start thinking of the content that you can take from, because part of it is education, but part of it is like when I say entertainment, it's like you want to make it figure out what is the reason that people buy your product. So when you know the why behind the why, like what's the main reason that people are buying?
Right. Well, I think some are gifts and some are they just like nice towels for their kids. Okay,
so if they're the ones that are gifts, so actually, so I told you guys that I stalk all of y'all, right? So I stalked you on Amazon.
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay.
So I would say, so the first thing is that when I went to baby showers, you didn't come up.
Okay.
When I searched baby shower gifts, so that you have one that's like a swaddle cloth with that little set that's like $19. Okay. That should be under baby shower gifts.
Okay. Okay, I'll add that to the keywords. But okay, when you see that it's a sponsored product, don't click on it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
No, that costs me money every time you click.
No, I searched Briggenwood.
Okay.
So that's the other thing is that I think your branding, like nobody is going to know Briggenwood. I think you should have your keywords should be more geared towards why people are buying them. They're buying them for gifts. So there'll be new baby gifts, baby shower gifts, things like that. That's because I had a whole bunch of stuff that came up and yours wasn't in that first page. So Bafna says she has 2 kids, both love it, but getting the older one into bath is challenging once she's in and challenging to get her out. And Lisa says she's a grandma, the grandson doesn't want to get in, but then getting him out is difficult. And he loves to play when she wraps him in the towel. Bafna says like colors, some personalization and material works. So actually a subscription box with towels is a great idea. For somebody for their first year of having a baby. That's another conversation though. That takes.
Well, but part of my gig is a big part, and I believe in this myself, is sustainability and the fact that if you buy a good towel, it's going to last you several years. You shouldn't need a subscription box. You only need a subscription box if you buy a crappy towel that falls apart.
Right, but so
Briggenwood towel is going to last you at least 3 or 4. I mean, they'll outgrow it before it's not any good.
Right, but for you, so this is actually the next module is we're going to talk about 3 ways that you grow your business. Is either you keep bringing in new customers, you get the customers that you have to buy more, like a higher per ticket sale, or you get them to buy more frequently. So for you, if the towel lasts forever, which is great, but how do you increase your your actual sales, because you don't want people to say, you just buy this from me one time and you will never have to buy from me again. The reason
Right.
you would think about like something like a subscription box or something like a gift that people can get for 3 months or for 2 months or whatever it is because you want them to buy from you multiple times.
Okay.
So if they bought, if it was somebody who really wanted to do like a new mom gift, they could give her like a 6-month subscription where 1 month she got a towel, the next month she got she got the slippers. Well, those are not for new moms, but they got the slippers. Another month they got the hoodie. Another month they got another towel. So you could do like maybe a 3-month subscription box.
Okay.
So it's all about getting people to buy more frequently. So instead of them buying from you one time, try to figure out how you can get them to buy from you 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah. And even like if you could collaborate with something like the bath bomb fizzy people, you could like get their fizzy. I don't know if you could have somebody in the US that did like that I'm sure you could, that did like drop shipping or whatever, but that they get like a fizzy and a towel for 3 months. And that's under $20 each time. It goes out automatically.
Okay.
So try to get people to buy instead of just, yes, they last, but you got to increase the frequency or the amount at that one time that they purchase.
Okay.
Yeah. And Facebook Lives, I'm gonna put this on my list. I'll actually put this in your in the next module stuff. So the Facebook Live script. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, who's next? Lena, do you have any questions? Okay, no. Chantel says she can see a subscription box for towels because you need more than one towel. Maybe a 3-month subscription or 6 months. And also wedding gifts. If it's something that lasts for a long time, use that as one of your keywords.
I would do that for the throws.
But for towel, do you have towel sets?
I don't have towels for adults.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, I mean, the Quarry Bay towel lady, but that's only Hong Kong, and they're not. I wouldn't, if I got that as a wedding gift, I'd be pretty disappointed. I mean, they're just basic towels. They're good, and they're not heavy. They're not the kind that
Okay.
They're not wedding gift material. But my throws are gorgeous, and they could be.
Okay, yeah. So just think about what are some more keywords you can put on there.
Okay.
Chantel says she would definitely watch you on a live.
Thank you, Chantel.
Okay, all right. So any other questions? Let me make sure and see if there are any in the group that I missed. Hang on a sec. Okay, I don't see any other questions.
I have one, Laura.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Facebook groups and the pages and your profile.
Yeah.
And all at all.
Yes.
How do you manage the content from one to the other to where you're not trying to cultivate new content all the time? Is there a way to share amongst your many different entities without having to you know,
Okay,
that can be exhausting.
so make sure that it's relevant. But like, for example, the live that I did the other day, I actually shared that between all of my groups. Well, I didn't do it in a TEDx group, I don't think. But I shared that through all of my groups, and I shared it on my personal page, but I selected which friends received it. So the way I did that was I actually used Be Live for my interview, BeLive.tv, which allows me to pre-schedule the live. So if you see like Lori will go live at this time, that's what that's through. And I put it on my main page, my main Lori Granito Speaks page, and then I share that into the groups. And so that when I go live, you can actually see it in each group.
Can you like 5 minutes?
Yeah. So
you did it on your business page.
So it has to be on a page, like your business page or your personal page, and then you can share that into your groups.
And you said that when you're using it, it's when you're actually doing your live on your business page, it is simultaneously doing it in your groups as well.
Right.
Not a share after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do, you can do it after the fact. But I usually do it before so that people know. Yeah.
And from each group, can you get questions and interaction from each group?
That I don't know. I've actually only started doing this like about a month. But I think so, because I think the questions that I got before came from one of the groups. But the main thing is that you can't share from a group onto other places, because it will only show to people who are actually in the group.
Okay. And if you don't see that, if like sharing the same content in your multiple groups, you don't see that, especially if someone else is in multiple of your groups, you don't see that as like too much.
Everybody doesn't go everywhere. I mean, people are in so many groups now. So I have some people that are in both of my groups, some people that are only in one. So people don't go everywhere, and like, it's free content. What are you complaining about, right? I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, if you are, the other thing that you can do is repurpose the content. So you can go live either on your page or your group, and then you can send it out via email. So one of my mentors, Lisa Nichols, does this really well, and she encourages it. So she'll create a video, and she batch creates her videos. She'll take like 2 days and do 20-something odd videos that she creates for YouTube, and then she sends them off to get edited. And then she'll have, like, on Monday, it'll go out on her main Motivating the Masses page. On Tuesday, it'll get emailed out to her list. On Wednesday, it will go up on YouTube. On Friday, it'll go on Instagram. So it's the exact same content in that week, but it's going out at different stages to different places.
Okay. And how many lives in a day is too many?
I think it depends on the group. I think 1 a day is fine. 1 max 2, 1 or 2 a day. And it doesn't have to be every day. I would create a schedule. I'll actually, I would create a schedule and just say, like, this group on Monday, this page on Tuesday, and then you could actually have that same content and then put it in a definite, you could put it in like a schedule that is a rotational schedule. So you have one piece of content, but then it goes into different places on different days or different weeks even.
Okay.
So I have some, for example, I have some videos that I did in one group ages ago that I downloaded and I put into another group. And I just say, posting this here because this is an oldie but a goodie. Hope you guys like it. Leave some comments. And also realize that if you're out there and you're doing Facebook Lives and you're posting consistently, you are already like so far ahead of the game. Because most people are going to second guess themselves like forever in terms of getting out there, and they're going to be talking about, I don't know if y'all saw my last video, but I had just finished like moving some furniture. I turned the live on. I wasn't paying attention. I had a big wad of lint in the front of my head. And I was like, what is this lint in the front of my head? Oh my God. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You just do it, you know?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And another question is, I know, because you're saying we weren't going to cover it so much in this course, but could you at least, is it something quick that you can provide, just like a quick list of who our possible team members could be? That you're saying, like, build out your team as you're going on.
So again, it depends on where your strengths are and where you need help. But accounting help would be something that you should look at. Maybe a virtual assistant to help you with some admin tasks. Maybe somebody to help you with social media if that's not your jam. Maybe you know Facebook's ads, maybe you don't. Maybe you need somebody to help you with that. Somebody that can help you with your I know people who write their copy, a copy creator, somebody who can, and they don't all have to be full-time people. They can be part-time as well, or for a particular amount of for that specific gig. So, but what I will say is that one of the things that I have found, and I cannot stress this enough, is that anytime I have tried to save money to do something myself, it has not come out as well as I would have liked. So like I had some videos that I did for, actually it's for my TEDx group program. So I was like, I can figure this out. I'm smart. So I get on to iMovie, I do my movie, and then I just could not figure out how to like make the lead in, the intro. So they look cheesy. I'm gonna have to redo them. They look so sad. But I finally got them done. I finally got it like, put them up. I just put it out there, right? And then the guy who did my intro for these, they're like $15 on Fiverr, and they do them in a day. And I spent like 2 days trying to figure that shit out, right? So it's like, how much time did I waste when I could have paid somebody $15 and gotten it done professionally? So just that's why I want you to start thinking in terms of how much is an hour of your time worth. The money you're trying to save by like learning that thing, and you should have like an understanding so that you can speak intelligently about whatever it is. So you should have an understanding. But it's like, when you think about how much you're really saving or how much you're really losing, then it starts to hit home, because that's time that you could be spending on revenue generating activities.
Sorry? Who?
Yeah. So really think about what it is that you need.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else? Laurie says, what do you need to give someone at Fiverr? So what I did, Laurie, was I actually just gave them my logo, and they had like some templates, and I picked one, and I didn't like his music, so I went and got some free music off of some website. I need to go find it, and that was it. And a day later, I had my intro. So, Laurie, I just answered your question. Did you hear? Did you hear the answer to your question, Laurie? Okay, cool. Okay, any other questions?
So with Fiverr, like if I have some video taken in my factory of the products being woven, and then I have still life photographs of the, is that something I could get a Fiverr person to put together into a nice little video thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can get them to do like a 1-minute video. It depends on who you hire, but they could be anywhere from 35 to 70 US dollars. Some are a little bit more, but you know, for the time,
Okay.
if you just give them what you want, they smack it together. You really do have to look around. I mean, I found the guy who edited. So I had one guy who actually did the intro, and then I had another guy who put the intro with the video. And when I started looking at people for editing, like it was a real wide gamut. One was like $35, one was 70, one was 120. And then I found this dude who was like $10 a video.
Was he any good?
He's the one, the videos that you're watching, he just edited, he just put them together. So I don't know what he actually does. He does a lot of video editing, but you can always go and see. I usually try to get people who have really good reviews. I always look at the reviews.
Okay.
There's another guy on there who had some great reviews. He was like 70 US dollars for the video. So I would definitely get on there and check.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people on there. So I see your question. You're going through a lot of changes and notice that I'm losing interest in my business. You need the money, but I'm pushing through in vain, but I need help. Okay, so I have been there. As you know, I closed my catering company that I had for like umpteen years. And one of the reasons was because, you know, it was a lot of schlepping, having to take stuff here and there. And I just didn't really want to do it anymore. It was kind of like I didn't want to deal with the clients, and that, you know, I just wanted to be able to be more fully into my business. So I think we go through seasons, and I really felt like a part of it was feeling guilty because I had clients that were emailing and it's like, how can you leave us? And how can you not do my Thanksgiving? And, you know, what are we going to do this year? And I'm like, dude, there's other people that sell turkeys, right? But that made me like stretch it out a whole other year. I just felt so guilty that like these poor people couldn't get their turkeys and their mac and cheese. But you know, the stranded Americans in Hong Kong that would have to go somewhere else. So but I did understand that my heart wasn't in it. And I think that you have to find what it is that your heart is in. And I think that we have earned the right to be doing something that lights us up. And that was a hard realization for me to come through. It was two things, actually. It was first, oh my God, how am I going to make money? Because this is like my bread and butter. Like if I don't, you know, if I'm not catering, that's like, especially if I'm not doing it in November and December, which are my biggest, you know, money months of the year, how are we going to survive? That was a huge thing. The other thing is, are people going to find me credible moving from transitioning from like the food business into coaching? And that was kind of like, okay, you just got to get out there and see. And I mean, I was very fortunate that I had actually, before I decided to make the leap, I actually had people come up to me and say, I will pay you to speak, I will pay you to coach me. So that I knew at least there was something there, but I also recognized that I didn't know what I didn't know, and I had to go out and get some help to move that part of the business forward. But the one thing I think you should do is not feel guilty, which I know is a little bit hard, but not feel guilty about wanting something different. Because when you've been doing something for a long time, it is easy to lose your motivation. And you can either put somebody else in a position where they can run that company for you, which was the the situation that I had with the catering, or you can go ahead and say, okay, what else is it that I'd like to do right now? So I pretty much got 90% out of my food businesses. I got out of my, I had Mexican restaurants; those closed down because it was taking up too much of my time. I kept the cafe because I don't have to spend that much time in it. And then, we went kind of back and forth, and we decided to keep we have a cooking school, and we have another project that we're opening that my husband will run because he's, food and beverage is his thing. So, so I would just say, just don't feel guilty about it. Just don't feel guilty about it, and just try to start experimenting to see where it is that. What are some of the things that you love to do? Just start experimenting. So, okay, so Lena says she doesn't have clients now. So it's issues with that guilt, but definitely issues with number 2. She only knows web design. So what are you going to do now? And yes, the credibility issue. So, it is always hard when you're like starting out and you don't have that, you have 2 people watching your video or 1 person. And I'll tell you guys, usually when I do my lives, there's like under 5 people. I'm lucky if I have 5 people watching live. It might be 1, sometimes it's 0, but then people watch on the replay. So at first I was kind of like, don't y'all know I'm on here live? Where is everybody? But then I just started, you don't take it personally, right? I think as long as you're getting out there and you are playing to your strengths. So, like Lena, I say, you only know web design, but that's a huge thing that a lot of people don't know. Like, I don't know web design. And when you think about what are you going to do now, this is where you have to start sort of reverse engineering those numbers. And you think about how much do you need to make to cover your costs. And then you can work backwards and say, okay, so this is what I really, really have to make. And so that means that I need to make this on a weekly basis, or I need to bring in this many clients on a weekly basis. And then that means I need to make this many calls, or I need to make this many interactions. So that's usually, for me, when I think about how many times am I going to be on Facebook, how many emails, I usually don't send. I mean, there's times where I send emails out when we have something going on. But other than that, I don't bother people. But you have to really, it has to be very strategic. You have to start thinking about, like, what do you need to do on a day-to-day basis to hit your numbers. So I always tell people, when you're building a business, like for me, if you're building a $100,000 business or $1 million business, it's all the same. It's math. It's not magic. So for example, with my cafe, what I do is I know how much we need to make on average every single day. So by the first week, if we don't hit those numbers, then we know we need to start adjusting somewhere. Or if our breakfast, which is our highest revenue earner, didn't make so much, then we know we need to make adjustments. So likewise with my coaching, if I know that I want to make so many sales, then I understand that I need to get on Facebook Live this many times. I need to give this much information. And I will say for all of you guys that are in coaching or whatever you're in, don't hold back the information, because people will they will come to people that they understand are authentic, and then they will, and they still won't be able, like if I had a conversation with you, Lena, and you said, well, you need to do this for your website, and you need to do that, and then this is how you do that, and you could go and do this, and you could go and do that. I'm not going to go do all of that stuff. I'm going to say, oh, okay, thank you. And then I'm going to say, well, can you do it for me? So that's what you have to understand. It's not just the service that you're providing, the product, but it's also the service that you're selling. So, and the biggest part, I think, for most people, most women especially, is you've got to not hide. That's the main thing. You've got to not hide. You've got to not be worried about what people are going to say. What are they, if you put your stuff out there, people going to buy, say no. You just have to get out there, because people will say no, but some people will say yes. And the more you can get out there, the more people know. People learn through repetition. I used to say we had this little magazine that I used to get mailed every week. I don't know if they mail it anymore, but it was called the Dollar Saver. And it's a little thin, I think it's like Penny Saver in the US, a little thin booklet, and you could put an ad in there, and it would have everything from like the moving guy, man with a van, to the place that sells air cons, to the handyman. You would have like all kinds of different people that would advertise it. And we would never ever throw them out. But if we did, we knew that we could always open it up and we can find this guy's number, because it's repetition. That's why you always have your stuff out there. People learn through repetition. So the more you can put your stuff out there, the more you can make yourself known, the more you can be available to people, the more they may not come to you, because people don't need a website every day, right? But when they get ready to, they will come to you. And the other thing is, do not be afraid to ask people for referrals. The 3 most important words that you can ever ask is, who do you know? Which you guys will get this in the next module. Who do you know? Because even if it's not them, they'll say, oh, my friend is getting ready to start a new company. She, was looking for somebody to do her website. Let me put you in touch with them. And they may or may not use you, but at least they know you exist, whereas they didn't before. Okay, so any other questions? Any questions on the module? What did we go through? We went through market research, mission, vision. What else did we go through? Looking at my little board over there. Everybody was okay with putting their mission, their vision, their values? One of the most important things for you guys at this stage is your market research, knowing that you are selling the right thing, validating your product, and knowing that people will buy it. So I'm actually going to do a live on validating your product, but you've got to actually get out there and know that people will buy it. You have to do some test marketing. You have to go out and give somebody something and say, how much would you pay for this? Or you have to say, this is what I'm offering. is this, what are the keywords that you like I have a mastermind that I'm doing now. So I actually messaged a friend and I said, it's actually corporate women transitioning to entrepreneurship. And I said, what do you think are the 3 things that keep women from leaving their corporate jobs? And then she gave me her feedback. And that's the copy that I will use that's the stuff that I will use in my actual, in my copy. So Chantel says she's working on market research, but working on pricing and working on the goals piece. Okay, cool. The goals piece is really important, both in terms of the impact and in terms of the money that you want to make, because it keeps you accountable. Okay, so any last questions? Any other questions? Okay, cool. All right, so I will do a live probably tomorrow on I'll do a live on validating your product. Oh, you said Chantel says she's great with breaking the complex down into smaller, more manageable components. But for you, not so much. So I think, yeah, it's for your personal goals as well. You have to see the big picture. The main thing for you guys the reason we did that mission and vision piece is it's really important to see the big picture. So, like I was saying, when I started my catering company, I did an interview with somebody yesterday, and I was saying when I started my catering company, after we had lost everything, getting back on our feet, we're really struggling. And I knew there weren't that many catering companies at the time, but I knew that in order for me to be able to sustain my family, to make enough money, that I would have to position my company as the top catering company. And so the first call that we got was from this company called Freshfields. And it's a big law firm. They did a lot of catering with me before, but and sometimes they had budgets and sometimes they didn't. So they called and they wanted this lunch catered, and they had this small budget, and the lady said, okay, no, this is how much our budget is. So I said, because I always say, what's your budget? So she said, this is what it was. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm really sorry, we can't do anything for that, but if you can have some flexibility and come up to this amount, which was more than double what they had said, then we can help you out. So she said, okay, well, we're going to have to call somebody else. I remember I hung up the phone and I cried because I needed that money. But I knew that if I took that job, then I would always be associated with that discount pricing. And so, and I wanted to establish a standard for where we wanted to be in the market. And so, and then the next day she called back and she said, oh, okay, well, we had a meeting and we decided that we can do this much. So I was like, thank you, Jesus. But it was, this is why I was saying before, you have to be prepared to say no if you need to, because you will have instances where people will start coming to you and saying, and sometimes people come with really ridiculous requests, but you need to know where you want to position yourself in the market. And then you create your products around that. Okay, cool. So no more questions? Okay, so you guys continue working through module 2. Module 3 will be out on Monday. And module 3 will be going through business breakthrough. So we'll talk a little bit about speaking, Chantal. We'll talk about how to introduce yourself in your business to when you're networking or online even. So you're talking about the results that you're creating as opposed to just like what you do. And it'll allow you and how to actually get more referrals. We are going to talk about how to get comfortable on camera when you're doing lives. And then we're going to talk about 3 things: accumulating momentum, building up, and then breaking through in your business, and what that looks like, and why it's important that you stack those and not just try to leapfrog over some of the steps. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So if there are no more questions, you can always post in the group afterwards. I'm going to say goodbye. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. And I shall see you in the group. Okay. Bye-bye.